Hey guys, welcome again to this channel. And so this video is a continuation of the past video on the book we've been reviewing, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F by Manson. And we looked at chapter 1 to chapter 3. So we're going to be looking at chapter 4 to 6 today. So the topic of chapter 4, the value of suffering. The value of suffering. So Mark made us to understand that if you feel like you chose your problems and you have what it takes to solve them, you're going to feel powerful. If you feel like you didn't choose your problems and you don't have what it takes to solve them, you're going to feel miserable and overwhelmed. Now, Mark also made us to understand that for those problems that you get to choose for yourself, make sure you have a strong reason. Those challenges, those goals, aspirations that are going to bring problems for you, make sure you have a strong reason, because those are the things that are going to keep you going. Your reasons will keep you going during the hard times, because definitely there will be rough patches to it. So, then he also made us to understand that for the undertakings you're going to take and the problems that they are going to bring, since you're going to choose a reason that will help you survive, you should make sure that the reason that you choose is worth it, so that in the future when you look back, you say, okay, yes, my reasons were worth it. Now, definitely, all undertakings you're going to take and the reasons you're going to have, not all of them are going to be ideal, because you're human and you're going to make mistakes. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, at least 6 to 9 of your undertakings, your reasons should be strong enough and worthy enough, so that in the future when you look back, you say, yes, my reasons were worth it, and I really did get what I wanted. So he told us a story about a second lieutenant of the Japanese Imperial Army back in the Second World War. He and his group were assigned to the Philippines to resist the American soldiers there. And for a period of 30 years, he was there, and his crew members died off one after the other. And for that period of 30 years, they slept in death. They ate rodents and insects. Now, what kept him going was his reason, loyalty to his country. So after the 30 years was done and the Japanese surrendered to the United States, unknowing to him, so after he returned to Japan, and he observed that all of their culture that he was fighting to preserve as a loyal soldier has faded away, and the Japanese has copied a lot of the Western culture. So he was distressed and moved to Brazil, where he lived until he died. So you see, his reason at the time being was strong enough, loyalty, which took him through. But in retrospect, when he went back to Japan, the Japanese were no much more loyal to their culture, which he was preserving. You see, so whatever your reason is, make sure that in the long term, when you look back, you're not going to feel hurt. Now, he took us to another subtopic known as self-awareness, the self-awareness onion. We know about self-awareness, being cognizant of your mental and emotional states at all times. And we know about the onion vegetable. It has layers. When you begin to peel off the layers, at some point you start getting discomforted because of the gases that will get into your eyes. So he said, the self-awareness onion. The first layer is knowing what you feel. We all know what we feel. When you feel happy and when you feel sad, the way you feel annoyed, you all know what you feel, right? But he said the second layer, where it starts getting uncomfortable, is knowing why you feel what you feel. And you can't know why you feel what you feel without asking yourself questions. And he said this does not come naturally. It happens as a result of long-term training. So, for example, you're sad. You've got to ask yourself, why are you sad? Why are you sad? You can be sad as a result of depression. You can be sad as a result of anxiety. Depression occurs when you are sad as a result of something that has already happened. Maybe loss of finance, maybe loss of a loved one. So you're sad, right? Then you can also be sad because you have anxiety issues. Maybe a loved one is sick, and the way it's going, it seems like he or she is going to die, so you're sad. Or you're sad because an appointment or contract that you've been waiting for seems like it's fading away. So you see that you need to know why you are sad. You need to know why you're feeling the way you're feeling. Because until you know the root cause of your feelings, you can't take the right steps to work them out. So the third level of the self-awareness onion, he said, is values. He said your values determines how you measure your success and how you measure your failures. Your values determines if you're succeeding or if you're failing. Your values determines what makes you happy and what makes you sad. Your values determines your problems, in the sense that what you are willing to undertake, your aspirations are determined by the things you value. Your goals are determined by the things you value, and whatever aspiration you are going to undertake, definitely you're going to face problems there, right? You're going to suffer for those problems while heading for your goals, which you've been learning so far. So he said your values will determine your problems, and your problems will determine the quality of your life. So it's good to have better problems so you have a better quality of life. So he said your values determines how you measure success and failure. So in other words, your values determines the things you're willing to suffer for. Now, he now told us two different stories for us to get a clear concept of how values affects all of our decisions and our emotional states and mental states. He talked about a talented guitarist, Dave Mustaine. He was a member of the Metallica rock band, well known in the 80s. So they signed their first record deal in 1983, and just after signing their first record deal, he was kicked out. And so while in a bus on his way back home, he was so annoyed and distressed that he vowed that he's going to form his own band, rock band, that is going to go on to beat his old band, and his old band mates, they will be they will be poor and living off the streets, clamoring about him and his success and being depressed. So he went on to form Megadeth, which went on to sell over 25 million copies worldwide and toured the world over and over again. Now, unfortunately for him, the band he got kicked off is known as Metallica, and Metallica went on to sell over 180 million copies worldwide. So in a rare interview in 2003, in tears, he said that he still feels like a failure and he's still not a happy man. And he was asked why. He said because he didn't achieve his aim. He didn't achieve his aim to beat his old band. Check out someone who has millions of dollars in the bank and a lot of adoration from fans. You see, so his values made sure that he was not happy despite his success. Now, we also told about Pete Best. He was in the Beatles. He's a talented, or was a talented drummer. Now, he got kicked off the Beatles when they signed their first major contract around 1962. And he didn't take it so well. So he gave into drinking and all that. And all his musical projects failed. In 1965, he had already sued two members of the Beatles for slander and all that. All of his life was a mess. By 1968, he attempted suicide, only to be talked out of it by his mom. Now, in 1994, he was interviewed, and his statement shocked the world. He said he's better off now than he would have ever been with the Beatles. What the hell? The Beatles that went worldwide. What's your reason? He said, let him tell us his reason, that his values changed. That the unfortunate circumstance of leaving the Beatles led him to meet his wife, and that he has a bunch of loving children and all that, and a stable family. And that his musical projects are also successful in the moment because he gets to tour around Europe, and so that he's living a happy life right now. So now his values, now even though he said he didn't get much, the only thing is that he didn't get much adoration and fame like his team, his former mates in the Beatles. So now you can see that from his values, now even though he didn't achieve much success, he was still feeling happy and successful. Why the first story we had, despite his success and fame, his value made sure that he didn't feel successful and happy. So your values determine your success and your happiness and your problems as well. So Mark made us to understand that self-improvement has to do with prioritizing your values. Yes, all values are great, but there are some values that should take the topmost spot in your life. We call them like global values. They affect a lot of your decisions and your feelings. He said values that shouldn't take a top spot your value list is pleasure. He said a lot of people, their most important value is chasing pleasures. And he said, look at the life of drug addicts. Then you understand what happens when pleasure is your number one value. Because pleasure comes easily and goes easily. It's not stable. The second one he said is material success. Yes, material success, we all want material success. But say in a situation where material success is taking the topmost of your list, he gave an example of two wealthy men. He said when you come around one, you feel like a piece of shit. You feel like a piece of shit. When you come around the other, you feel special. You feel accepted. He said why? That the reason is because the one who makes you feel special at the top most of his list is empathy, love. Then later you see financial success, and down the list. And the other one, material success takes the top chart of his list. Why there's no need for empathy. So you should have a value that deals with your behavior as a human being at the top most of your list. Now the third one he said that shouldn't take the top most of your list is what he calls positivity, being positive all the time. He said a woman, her friend told her how her husband cheated on her with her sister, and the woman's response was, at least now you know what you mean to those around you. Another woman told her how she lost her son to throat cancer. Her statement was, at least now you know that you don't get to pay for college tuition. You don't get to pay for what the hell is that? What kind of staying on the positive side of life that keeps you away from accepting the negative things that happens in your life? Why are you doing that? Because life has to be balanced, Yes, you have to accept the negative things that happen to you. Don't deny them. Accept them so that you can heal very well and still focus on the bright side of life, which you should do. But it should not be taking the top most of your life. That anything that happens, you just want to be all positive about it. Then the fourth one he talked about is people that have the need to be right all the time. They have the need to be right all the time. Anywhere they want their opinions to be the one taken. Anything they see, in any argument they want to take it. When you live like that, your relationships are going to sour. Your relationships are going to go bad, and you don't want to live a life like that because you won't accept your mistakes, and ultimately you won't develop yourself because you have to look at your mistakes and look at your weaknesses. That's what self-esteem is all about. Really, really looking at your weaknesses, looking at your strengths. So yes, these are my strengths. You work on them. Your weaknesses, you find a way to bridge them, not acting like you're perfect. So he said these are the values that shouldn't be taking the top spot of your value list. Like I have mine. I even understood this before I read Mark's book. I learned it from Tony Robbins. So at the top of my list is respect God, because I'm a Christian. So respecting God is on the top most of my list, followed by healthy living. I believe that I need to be healthy physically, mentally, emotionally before I can undertake anything in my life. Then at the top, third spot is love and community. I believe in the power of relationships, healthy relationships. And so I have financial independence on my list. I have contribution, I have self-improvement on my list, but they are not the topmost. So that is what it's all about, prioritizing your values. And now let's head to the next phase of this chapter. So he said, how do you know what's a good value and what's a bad value? A good value is something that is realistic, it's something that is socially constructive, and it's something that you can control. Example of a good value: honesty. Honesty is being realistic. You're saying it as it is. It's socially constructible in the sense that almost everybody wants you to tell them the truth, even though it's uncomfortable. Then it's within your control. You get to choose it by yourself. Then bad value example: you want to be the most popular person at every party you attend. First, it is not realistic because you can't be the most popular person in every party you attend. Second, it's not socially constructible or acceptable in the sense that you will not get to do things that you shouldn't do in order to garner people's attention. Thirdly, it is out of your control. You don't get to choose what people feel or think about you. So examples of good values: creativity, standing up for others, empathy, honesty, and all that. Bad values: dominance, promiscuity, manipulating others and all that. So these are what he taught us on chapter 4. So now let's head into chapter 5 quickly. Chapter 5 says responsibility. Responsibility. Now, life is going to throw its problems at you. You're going to choose your own problems for yourself. So what you get to do is that whatever problems you have, both those life throws at you and whatever you choose for yourself, you are responsible for making them work because it's your life. Another name he used for this chapter 5 is you are always choosing. So you are always choosing your response. You are always having an active role in what's happening in your life, even though you're the cause of the problems or life is the cause of your problems. You see, the first step to being responsible to your problems is accepting responsibility of giving meaning to all your experiences and choosing what to do, your response. You see, he said, if you choose to give meaning to what you experience or not, it is your responsibility. If you give it meaning, fine. If you choose not to give it meaning, it is, or your subconscious mind will choose a meaning for it. If you choose to respond, that's a response. If you choose to neglect whatever happens to you in your life, it is also a response. So you are always having an active role in your life. You are always choosing. Now, it's true that, like we have already said, some problems come to your life as a result of life. You don't have any, you didn't get it for yourself, life brought it to you, and there are those that you choose for yourself, right? Now, you have to be responsible for them all. Now, he now taught us the difference between responsibility and fault. You might have a problem in your life that it's your fault, and you're responsible for solving it. Like, so for me, example now, I have some health challenges that I brought on myself as a result of lack of healthy living in the past. It's my fault, it's my mess up. So it's my responsibility to work on them. So I visit the hospital, and I've changed my lifestyle to a more healthier lifestyle. Then also, there are problems in your life that are not your fault, but it's your responsibility to work them out because it's your life. I was born with asthma. It's not my fault, but I have the responsibility of taking care of my health. Some people experience loss of a loved one and all that. It is not their fault, but it is their responsibility to pick up the pieces of their lives and move forward. Some people get screwed over financially, emotionally, verbally. Some people's spouse have screwed them over and over again. But it is their responsibility to move on with their life because it is their life. So whatever you choose, if you choose to move on with your life or if you choose not to move on with your life, it is still a response. It is still a choice. You are always choosing. So why not choose to work on every aspect of your life? So he gave us a phrase, and that phrase says, with great power comes great responsibility, right? I guess we've all had it, or most of us have had it. With great power comes great responsibility. He said we should stop looking at it from that aspect. We should switch the nouns. With great responsibility comes great power. With great responsibility comes great power. So he said, you see, when you begin to take responsibility for everything that happens in your life, both the things that are your fault and the things that are not your fault, you begin to exercise so much power in your circumstances. I feel like you've gotten the point. So let's get to chapter 6, which is the last. And it says, you are always wrong, so am I. Uncertainty, acknowledging your own ignorance. You see, in life, there is nothing that is certain. You're not certain of what will happen tomorrow. You're not certain for what will happen for the remaining of today. You understand? And so, when you understand that everything in life is uncertain, you will not put unnecessary pressure on yourself. Definitely. Your brain and my brain is wired in a way that we want to understand everything so that we can control our environment and our circumstances. Fine, that is good because your brain don't want you to spend the rest of your life or most of your life on trial and error, making so much mistake that you fail to actually achieve much. So definitely, it's a good trait. But we should also help our brain to understand that we cannot be certain of everything. A human being has ignorance. Every human being has some level of ignorance in him. But does this mean that we should not have a vision and have a goal that we are going for? We must go for it. It is true that we are always on a path of achieving success, of achieving perfection, and achieving truth. But you see, we will never achieve perfection till the day we die. We will never achieve truth in its completion till the day we die. But if we fail to continue this pursuit, we will find out that every areas of our life will begin to head towards decline, and we will not end up achieving much in our lives. So head for it, but know that you will not achieve it. But know that on your path to achieving it, you will achieve so much, you will learn so much. Don't always want to be right. Always look for areas that you are wrong, so that you can learn and grow. A young man wants all conditions to be certain before he heads out on his venture, or a young woman. You will keep waiting for that perfect time. You will keep waiting for that perfect time. You will die. The perfect time have not come. A young man is interested in a beautiful lady. He's waiting for the perfect time to ask her out. You will keep waiting for that perfect time till Jesus will come and take you or take the lady. There's a song Smokey sang back in the 80s. Living next door to Alice. See, he has been living next door to Alice for over 24 years, looking for the perfect time to ask her out. One day, 24 years later, he was looking through his window. He saw Alice moving away. He started crying. He was looking for the perfect time. So in life, don't be waiting for everything to be certain before you move. It is true that you might head into uncharted waters when you want to try some new venture. Don't go with speed. One step at a time, so that if one of your legs tries to sink, you draw it back and move in another direction. So nothing is certain in life. Know that you're always going to make mistakes in future. Know that the goals you have for yourself, by the time you will get there, you will see that there are a lot of things you did not plan that are there. But that process of accepting that you don't know everything and you don't know what will happen in every instant. When any negative experience happens or what you don't expect happens, you will tell yourself that yes, this is part of life. But when you don't have this understanding, when anything does not go according to your plan, you see people committing suicide, seeing people giving up and all that. Don't take that part. Accept that uncertainty is part of life. So me personally, not what Mark taught me, I have two beliefs in relation to this topic. I believe that the only thing that is certain in life is the existence of God. And the evidence to suggest his existence are not even certain, because you have not even seen him with your physical eyes, right? Then the second thing that I feel that is certain in life is uncertainty. I don't know what will happen the next hour. I'm going out within the hour, but I don't know what will happen, what I will see, and if I will achieve what I'm going out for. So that is it for this video. So please, you can review this video over and over again, because these are wonderful things that have helped my life over the years that I started following this Mark Manson's book. So catch you in the next video and have a nice day.